Okay, I think I'm live. Let's make sure. Yeah, it looks like I am live. So I have I have somebody who's going to come in and come chat with me about well, whatever he wants. Looks like I just got a Discord message. Hey, I got into a discussion about climate change with a relative earlier, and I referenced your videos a few times. It helped me a lot to organize some of the opposing talking points, but I was wondering if there's some sort of document or place for all your references. I know you post them in each video, but it'd be nice if you were posting a Google Doc or something organized, referencing on the fly. That is a very good point, and something that I want to do. I'd like to get a Substack going where I can organize the videos that I have, maybe write a little bit more, add some more of my notes to it, things like that. I use Notion as my, I guess, my note-taking device. It helps me stay organized and track my projects and all kinds of stuff like that. But yeah, if, that's a really good comment on the Discord. So if you are listening and you want to jump into the Discord, just let me know. I'm just going to message the guy who wants to come hang out. But otherwise, I think the plan for today is going to be chat with whoever's interested in coming to chat, and then otherwise to stay with the idea of my channel name. I'll probably do some Baldur's Gate 3 gaming because I quite enjoy that game, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to play. So let's see if he's around. If you do come in, just jump into the general chat, and then I can pull you into the chat with me voice channel. If anybody is there, it looks like a few people are watching. So if you have any questions, just throw them in while we just wait a minute for the guy to come in and see what he's going to talk about. I haven't prepared anything. I also think that I'm probably going to end up streaming tomorrow because the guy that I was talking to last week, the timing works a little bit better for him. So I prepared some questions for him, and he's going to talk about like ERCOT and the whole renewable systems. Let's see. Jump into general. Sorry, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just getting him, just messaging him to get him in, and we'll go from there. Hey, I'm one who wrote the comment in Discord. Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah, nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, I don't know if you caught it, but the plan realistically will be to get a Substack going. So I have a lot of my notes, I have a lot of my information, and that way I can organize it all and put information up there that like isn't as interesting. yeah. Unfortunately, it's a little bit manual, but I think it's good for me to like get all those notes and pieces of information in. I'm just going to drag them in now into the chat. Hey, buddy, I'm streaming right now, so don't give away any personal information. You should be able to just unmute yourself and speak away. If it shows you is still muted, I'm not sure if it's... oh, you don't have a working mic. Fuck. Well, Michael, it may not go super well if he doesn't have a working mic. I guess there's a bit of miscommunication. Well, sorry, I'm just talking to him on Discord. If you want, you can come into the YouTube chat and shoot in your questions, buddy. I'm happy to just like converse and chat with you guys. Like I said, but yeah, Michael, sorry, I'm managing a bunch of things. There's a lot more multitasking to this than I ever thought. Yeah, Substack should be where I put most of the information, and ideally have it well organized so you can reference things easily. The Lizard 2024 stuff just came out, so instead of making a video, I'll probably just make a bit of a Substack note about the information in there, because I don't know if it's really worth a video, but we'll see. General question: what are some things? Man, there's a heart button like right in front of the words, so sometimes it's actually a little bit difficult to read. One sec, I'm just going to bump what you said so I can read it properly. What are some things we can do to reduce our personal CO2 emissions? Which ones do you do? So there's like a lot of different things, and it's going to depend on like a whole number of factors, and kind of depending on where you live. I would say the absolute biggest thing for me that I do personally is cycle. I live in Canada, as I imagine most of you guys would know, but I'm able to cycle year round. No worries, Slayer 420. You can ask me questions and I'll just answer them as they pop up in the chat. But yeah, for me, it ended up being cycling. I made a video kind of explaining the CO2 trade-off with cycling, and me and my partner have reduced our driving to less than 5,000 kilometers per year. Because she cycles to work every day, I cycle to the gym, we cycle to the grocery stores, we do all that kind of stuff. And then if we want to go out hiking in the mountains or anything like that, then yeah, we'll take out our car. And when I lived in Vancouver, BC, I was able to take the SkyTrain everywhere and take Evos when I needed them. So if your city has something like Evos, that can be really, really beneficial, because then your car use is minimized even more. Yeah, it's just Alberta doesn't quite have as good infrastructure for transit. It's still pretty good between Edmonton and Calgary, but it's not quite as good as I'd say like Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver. There's some place where like reducing your meat eating can also obviously reduce your emissions, but seeing as how that's not even like carbon taxed here in Canada, I think there's a lot of personal cost on that aspect. That gets into a bit of a contentious issue though, because it starts to bleed into the moral standpoint of meat eating and things like that. But there's a fair bit of CO2 emissions in the production of meat. With that said, if we were to carbon tax it, you would probably see mitigation strategies going in to reduce the CO2 emissions in meat. Things like I've mentioned before, like red seaweed seems to be something you can feed cattle that can help to metabolize the methane in their stomach so that it comes out as CO2. I hope that answers some of your questions, Pablo. Do you have any more specifics that you'd like to know on that? But yeah, the biggest thing you can do is probably I literally just looked at the Lizard study, so I probably can't get into the specifics right now. Do you want to just paste in soyadal? Maybe what the disclaimer says on page 8, just for my reference. I literally just flipped through the charts. I saw it maybe 5 minutes before I started the stream, so I can't speak to it super well. It looks like they added transmission costs into it, but I think they're doing regional based ones and so we're seeing the costs still be relatively high, which is kind of what we expect. Like the ERCOT costs are still a little higher than if it was more of like a full southern states interconnection system. But yeah, Slayer 420. If you have some questions, just you can just throw them into the chat. Oh, lithium ion vehicles. Okay. So I don't necessarily think that they're a bad idea. Again, I'm just going to bump just to make sure I see everything. I wanted to ask you why you think lithium ion vehicles are a bad idea. Your argument last time was not enough mining, but can't we just scale that up? Yeah, so the issue with the lithium ion vehicles is not even necessarily the lithium, because lithium can scale up in mining pretty rapidly. It's more to do with the other things like cobalt and even graphite. It's more about the rate of change, and I think that's not what we necessarily are set up for. So in the mining industry, it usually takes 10 to 15 years to get a mine together. So if you have to ramp up mining production by 10 times what it currently is, that's going to put a huge strain on those mining resources. But it will be a push and pull from what the market is going to be demanding. But you would probably see a pretty large increase in costs in that case. But like I said in the videos, or in the video with Decarbonize, it's not something that I am overly concerned about, because it seems like our technological advancement is going to be able to deal with a lot of those problems. But it is a constraint that we need to think about, at least going forward, because a lot of the time there's this comment like, oh, we'll just recycle, or we'll just do all these kind of other pieces, where the analysis that I was looking at and the systems I was looking at was first fill. So how do we build out the very first systems of renewables? Yeah. And it seems that cars take about 90% of your total mineral demand. And that's kind of where the concern comes from. Yeah, it's definitely not impossible. It just takes serious concerted effort to do it, and probably administrative structures that make it a little bit easier to get mines started, to deal with that kind of level of NIMBYism that seems to exist, and getting the supply chains out there. Because again, electric vehicles only, I think, represent less than 5%. It might even be less than 3% of total vehicles on the road. So this idea of converting all vehicles, all the vehicles in the world to electric vehicles is quite a big task. And it's not one that's fully captured within the IE estimates, or a lot of the estimates that are being pushed. They seem to be at least off by about half in many cases. But I mean, it's always doable. We have enough mineral resources, 100%. There's no doubt about that. It's just the ramp up and scale is a lot. I'd say sodium ion, I would say, are looking really good. We're going to know very, very soon. I know that there's a sodium ion battery facility that just opened or is about to open in the States. The first battery storage, sodium ion battery storage facilities in China have just started. We have different chemistries from a company named Cattle and a company named Tiamat, the evil dragon god from Dungeons and Dragons. So they seem like we're about to know how good sodium ion batteries are. To my understanding, Actually, I just looked this up today. I think it's for a lithium ion battery about $67 per kilowatt hour of the total cost. So usually the cost of a lithium ion battery is going to be like $300 per kilowatt hour. $67, I believe, is associated with just the materials. And then for sodium ion, it's like $4 for the same relative basis. I would have to bring that up. But so there's a lot of potential there where I think the predictions are that sodium ion battery storage facilities are going to be like $175 per kilowatt hour by 2030. But then if we look at LFP is usually about 30% less than lithium ion. And then sodium would likely be some 20 to 30% less than LFP. So there's where, the chances of us getting to the sub $100 per kilowatt hour, sub $50 per kilowatt hour batteries, sodium ion, I think is going to play a really big role. But like I said, we should know more about that this year. Any thoughts on the Alberta NDP elections? I mean, my feeling is Nenshi is probably going to win. I know that he's extraordinarily popular in Calgary. And he seems like the front runner, the favorite. I don't know, Lewis, if you have a different feeling on that. Yeah, Michael, if you want to jump in, go ahead. Oh, yeah, I see you. See you down there. Yeah, I'll just drag you in. All right, buddy. Don't give away any personal information. I mean, your name on the chat is pretty blatant, but you should be able to unmute yourself if that's working. If it's not, I might have to add you. Oh, there we go.
That should be good. Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Yeah, my full name is just there on YouTube, but it's cool.
Okay. Well, don't give away any other personal information. But
Gotcha.
good to meet you, buddy.
Yeah, hey, how's it going? I just closed out of the YouTube. Maybe I should keep that open just in case anybody asks any questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just didn't want the dual audio screwing me up.
Oh yeah, I fucked that up last week when I played it through the stream, and it's a learning experience.
Your voice is actually. I just opened up. You're like a few seconds behind too, so it's even more jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to address the chat first before you talk to me, or all good?
I think Slayer just had solid state battery. It's just a meme. Yeah, solid state batteries are 5 years away yet again this year. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. No, I've been watching your videos for the last couple weeks. Actually, I've been doing a bit of a cram session on them.
Right on.
I've recently got into the whole energy stuff, so I'm trying to learn as much as I can. And yeah, I've been. I don't know how I found you. I think I found you through Destiny's.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. That's my most viewed video. So I figured a number of folks came through the Destiny channel or Destiny direction.
Yeah. So I've just been like, it's really hard to find Canadian politics online. Anyone like actually discussing them, kind of like I don't know, everyone in the States. It seems like it's so easy to find American politics.
Yeah.
And Canadian politics is like, I'm trying to dig through all these CBC articles and, trying to get to like, decent information and studies and stuff. And I just don't really know where to look.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping maybe you could help me out there. Where do you generally start when you go to look for some answers on this stuff?
So on this information, I've mentioned this before, but like it aligns pretty close with like my job, the papers that I've personally written and things like that. So I'm able to kind of backtrack that way. And then I think I also have a strong mathematic background being an engineer. So a lot of where I'm able to get confidence in what these studies are saying is I can just redo a lot of the math as long as the appendices are presented that way. And then that gives me better confidence. So that's like a different way. But like, I mean, the places that are good to start are like like Google Scholar is useful. You want to cross-reference it with the actual journals themselves and kind of look at their impact factors and things like that, just to make sure it's from like reputable journals. So like a lot of the time it's like the American Economics I believe it's American Economics Association. That's a good journal. There's the Oxford Economics one too. I'm trying to do these off the top of my head. Those are good. And then like, obviously like, I'm trying to remember all these journals off the top of my head, but yeah, I think there's Energy Policy as well, has like high impact factor. And then you end up like noticing some trends. So there's certain authors that you end up being like, okay, like anytime we talk about like economics within climate change, Nordhaus is going to be brought up. So it's good to know, okay, what does Nordhaus talk about? What's he doing? It's always going to be referenced in almost every single like econ paper around the subject because he won a Nobel Prize in it, et cetera, et cetera. So it's always nice to see how they incorporate what Nordhaus has done and where they say, hey, this is where I changed my assumptions and things like that. And that can help give some credence to it as well.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great jumping off point. Yeah, it's so tangly because I'm not in a research field in my own work. And so, like, I'm looking at all these journals. I don't know which ones are reputable, which ones are, you know what I mean? It just becomes all my free time will be gone if I had to look up.
Well, exactly, and that's where I hope to get the Substack together so I can like put my thoughts down a little bit better. And again, like, it's about indexing, it's about working together, it's about like going through these things. But like at the end of the day, like the IPCC is going to be an incredible resource for all of this. Like as much as it's like politicized, like they do a very good job. If you read through the actual topics and discussions, they put in like, this has a high probability, this has a medium probability, this has a low probability, et cetera, et cetera. And they go and you, all the references are right there. You can go from those references and look at, you know, what were the experiments done? What is this information like? When I think about like food production, right? Like that's something that like you can experimentally test really easily, right? You can have your greenhouse and be like, okay, what happens at different temperatures and what happens with more heat stress or more water or this, and there's like a lot of controlling factors. So you're able to like have a good amount of confidence in these scenarios, and then you relate it back to the real world and things like that. So,
right, cool. So that's almost like it's almost like a good starting point. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Go there, then from there you kind of branch out, and if you want to get more specific, then you dig deeper or whatever. But
exactly, and like I'm not an expert in all of these. Like the climate change is gigantic, right? Like I have to rely on like experts and other things. Like I can I can broadly be like, hey, like, you know, the geological findings within climate change are that like you can, you know, you can see when there was like times of high temperature because of like the way the silt lays on the ocean floor and things like that. But like if you were to like pin me down and be like, well, how does this exactly work 100%? I'm going to be like, I have no fucking idea, man. Like
well, that's like in my discussion earlier with my relative, he was my brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, well, you don't really do research yourself. And I was like, no, of course not. I'm like, I can't be an expert in everything. And we went through like, as political discussions do, you start at climate change and you end up at the most random things. I'm from Newfoundland, so we actually implemented a sugar tax. I think it was
interesting.
last year, the year before, and yeah, he just goes off on the sugar tax that relates to the climate, to the carbon tax. I'm like, those are two different things implemented in two completely different ways, and I'm like, I can't be an expert in everything. I don't know if the sugar tax works. I don't even think there's any information about how much it's lowered our sugar consumption in Newfoundland yet. I don't think that information is out there. But like, yeah, that's one thing I said. I'm like, yeah, well, I can't be an expert in everything. I have to rely on other people, other people to do the research for me, and I just have to judge based on consensus of that research and all that stuff. So yeah, it became a annoying thing.
Yeah, and I think as like I'm still in industry. I'm like foot in academia, like kind of I kind of walk in between the two lines of it. But I think the more you get into this academia, and Slayer 420, you say it right. Like, I hate well, you don't work at the IPCC, then you can't speak on it. And it's like,
Yeah, right.
there's like this level of trust that we need to have in our institutions that, they're at least mildly competent. I think Destiny said this a number of times, but it's like, how many thousands of people have to be lying in order for this to be true? And I wanted to make a video that was like, what are like the qualitative or like common sense things on climate change? So like, we know that BP oil found out about climate change and then hid the results, right? We know that insurance companies have been factoring in climate related damage into their estimates since at least the 70s, right? Like, there's certain things of like, yeah, you would 100% expect these if that was true. But back to the idea of like this trust in institutions, the more involved I get in like my specific field of engineering, the more I'm like, holy fuck, like I may know a lot about this specific, not to get too detailed in what I do, but I'm essentially an optimization engineer, but I focus on a certain area of optimization. And so like, if I'm to step outside of that and work in a different part of optimization for like circuits that I'm not super familiar with, like I'm not going to have that knowledge base, but I can.
Right.
And once you get into this and be like, holy shit, you could spend 10 years of your life just figuring out how like one protein folds, right? Like the amount of detail and time and effort that's taken into like discovering all this, and the hubris I think that some people have to be like, oh, well, they're lying, or they don't know. Yeah.
That was basically my entire discussion. So like I said, I referenced a lot of your videos because I found your videos are really good to find like a clump of information that's very specific to Canada. So like this guy's a very big, Pierre supporter and all that. So as soon as I mentioned anything like I said, well, one of the things I mentioned was wind and solar actually beat fossil fuels now. The cost it's crossed that threshold now where if you with the long line transmission implemented, you can get lower costs with wind and solar. And he was just like, I just don't believe it. And I was like, what else do I say? And then that's when I started to go into like, well, I can try to find these studies. And I went into the Lazard study and I was like, this is so much information to just bring out in a casual discussion. Like, I can't sit here and read this paper with you, but I'm like, here, go look at this. The information's there, it's available. I'm like, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. I have done a lot of looking into it myself, and it's just to be told I don't believe it. It's just so frustrating to me. I'm like, how can you just like not even, you don't have to believe it, sure, you don't have to believe it coming from me, but like be open to the idea at least a little bit,
Yeah. I think one of the big things for me is when I started to, I think it clicked with me after I read Jonathan Haidt's happiness hypothesis about motivated reasoning and things like that, and how Destiny describes it as like constellation of beliefs and stuff like that. But it's fundamentally like people start, they start with the answer and work backwards. And I'm not immune to it. Nobody's immune to it. It's very much a cheat code in our brains, and it takes a lot to do it. That's why institutions are so important. That's why one of Jonathan Haidt's main talking points is we need like lots of intellectual diversity, because people are going to engage in motivated reasoning, and then you can, as an institution, figure out what the right answer is, even if you have biased individual actors.
Right. Yeah. Because another thing he said, or I think I actually mentioned it already, but he said that's not actually you doing it. That's other researchers or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but these are studies or research articles put out that's constantly peer reviewed and checked by other climate scientists that have every motivated reasoning to prove these things wrong to get a leg up on the other guy or whatever. Like these are, they're good. If you put out a public paper, it's going to be criticized very heavily by people in their field. Like this isn't just someone writes an article and everyone just all of a sudden believes it. It's a little bit more in depth than that,
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and I think a really good starting point is always like, is starting with like, okay, like what would it take to change your mind, or how confident are you in the beliefs that you have, or like,
Yeah.
like what do you think these are? Because I think, you know, one of my kind of sniff tests that I use is like, okay, well, like, is it generally that like people on the left and the right are agreeing with this? Then even if it's science or whatever it might be, and if that's true, then I'm like, okay, this is probably more accurate. So something like the carbon tax, I know the left and right in Canada don't agree on it, but left and right economists do, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So
I mentioned that as well. Because I said that I was like every economist, not every economist, but most economists agree that carbon pricing is the way to implement the externality of carbon in our atmosphere, in the most economical way. And he was like, yeah, liberal economists. And I was like, no, no, just
yeah.
I was like, there's I mentioned I can't remember who put it out. The letter, the open letter from economists.
Oh yeah,
About
yeah,
carbon.
yeah. There was just a general open letter from economists in Canada, but
Yeah,
Pierre basically just
I'm
said,
sure
"Oh,
if you look up,
this is fake news." Yeah, it was like 200 economists or something in Canada.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure if you look up every one of those economists, you will find economists on the left and the right if you've
Oh,
dug deep enough, you know. But again, it was
well,
just just
yeah,
the heels in the ground, liberals versus conservatives was just off the
yeah,
charts.
yeah. It's getting more polarized in Canada, which is frustrating. Like, I mean, I make jokes about it, or what I called this, what, woke liberal shill chat.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it, like, it's so funny when I put out those videos, and it's like, you're just in Trudeau's pocket and blah blah blah, and
yeah,
it's like,
right.
man, I agree with one fucking policy decision. Like, are we so
Yeah,
off the rocker that like, I'm sure if I dug hard enough, there would be like a Trump policy position I agreed with too, man. Like, you can
right.
agree with things within a vacuum. Like,
Yeah, it's just so hard to get. And I noticed you're really good at like just pulling information out. I guess it's because of your background or whatever, but like I just found it was so hard during that discussion, like to recall all the little things I've learned, you know, in the heat of the moment. I was just so flabbergasted. And then I think I was taken aback by like we were just talking about the like inability to even be open to a different idea really like stumped me because for me I feel like I'm pretty open. If something came out tomorrow that said that there was a better policy to implement than carbon pricing, I would say okay, let's do that one. um but yeah, it just seems like there's just nothing you could do. It was so hard.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, you know, the like realistic case of it is like Polyev found a pain point and is pushing it, right? Like, I
Right.
almost guarantee you that if Trudeau had taken the technology over taxes, and we could see that it like wasn't working very well, Polyev would be quoting every study in the world that says, hey, carbon tax is the best idea. And he would be pushing that
Yeah,
and
of
being like,
course.
see, I have a real carbon plan that's backed up by like Nobel winning prize or Nobel Prize winning economists and blah, blah, blah. Right. Like,
Of course he's gonna, yeah, he would
yeah,
brag it up for sure.
there's this political game that gets played, and, you know, like I said, most people don't come to their positions from like first principles. They come up
No,
with
right.
whatever answer they want and then work backwards, right? So like, if you work in oil and
Exactly.
gas, the level of motivated reasoning you're going to have to not want to lose your fucking job is going to be really
Yeah.
high. So
Yeah. Well, his dad is has been working in the oil gas industry for his whole life, so
yeah, there we
there's a
go.
lot of it there, and he's worked in and out of it as well. So yeah, definitely a lot of that going on as well.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just gonna just check some of
Yeah, go ahead.
the stuff in the chat. So Slayer, personally, though, I think nowadays debating over climate change is kind of unnecessary. I think we should debate renewables. I rather have a world of solar panels using a world of solar panel using EV driving climate change deniers. And then Soyadal says, I just chatted with a Jacobian writer about why carbon taxes failed in America. Our left and right both find crazy ways of rejecting it. Yeah, that's always the funniest thing too. I'm this is a bit of a tangent, sorry, but I plan on making a few videos on like housing and housing policy and stuff like that, especially because it's like very topical in Canada, but it also has a lot of relation to climate change because building denser cities, reducing car use, all of those things. So building better public transit all has like really beneficial impacts on reducing carbon emissions. But it's interesting to see how left and right will again kind of do this weird motivated reasoning where I'll say like, hey, like we should reduce zoning law restrictions because it allows the market to decide what kind of housing should be built. And you get people calling it fucking communism. And
Yeah.
it's like, it is so mind-bogglingly funny to me, but also just sad because again, it's this thing of like, they're not coming from first principles. They're just like, no, I don't want my neighborhood to change. Fuck you. And I'm going to find whatever reason I can to say it's bad.
I feel like Destiny says this a lot too, how like Republicans from like 10 years ago would not be the same Republicans today or whatever, or shouldn't be the same Republicans today, I guess. And it's so crazy how we're trying to like the carbon pricing is a way that uses the market to account for an externality, which is something that you would think conservatives would be all for. That's right up their alley, you know? But yeah, it's just because I guess Trudeau did it that it's a bad thing. So that's where we are, I guess.
Yeah. And Slayer, need to reduce car use at least. I agree. I like I said, Slayer, I just think that the total renewable systems are kind of is going to be challenging from the mining perspective. But yeah, buddy, I'm right there with you. It's very weird to me. I think Canada is not as bad. I probably wouldn't say that. I don't fucking know. Like the People's Party, I think the People's Party gave like a good jumping off point for the most insane people.
Sure.
But there's a few people in here. There's a funny video series that I planned on doing, which would be like making Dungeons and Dragons characters, but they're the like Trudeau or Polyev, etc. So kind of like I don't know if you've seen PF Chung's videos on the like League of Politics. Destiny watched some of them on stream, but I thought about doing something like that because I thought it would be like a funny way to, I don't know, just get people a little bit interested in politics.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It must be hard to try to get people. Like I said, when I went looking for any kind of commentary on Canadian politics, I had a really tough time. Aside from like big, like CBC channels and stuff on YouTube or whatever. But like, yeah. So has that been a big challenge for you to try to get viewers and?
No. I would say
No?
like when I do my climate change stuff, that gets the least amount of views, like, excluding like Destiny, like putting Destiny and Jordan Peterson in the name is obviously going to get views. But I think if you look at my channel, I think if you look at my channel, like most of my views come when I talk about Polyev or the carbon tax specifically, because it's still related in that when I do a Python math video about how you can create renewable energy systems, I get like 100 views. I think it might be at 200 now. But then when I say something more, I guess like controversial, as it were, then I get a lot more views. Or even my girlfriend was saying she really enjoyed the last video that I put out because she's like, ooh, like this is drama, this is fun. And I was like, fuck's sake. But I mean, yeah. So I think there is some niche for it. And that's kind of what I saw, because I was like, I don't know exactly what angle to take. Like my inspiration came a lot from like Potholer 54, Econo Boy, Destiny, and then honestly, the debate with Destiny and Vegan Gains, where Vegan Gains didn't understand what was it? Oh, what a p-value was. I went, oh, I can make YouTube videos because there's no way I'm as stupid as Vegan Gains. that was literally
He's an interesting guy.
Yeah. So that was kind of the avenue that I took. And yeah, I was just like, where the fuck are like any like small L liberal commentators on this. It seems to be either left wing or fucking insane People's Party. Like, I don't know if you know who Mr. Sunshine Baby is, but Jesus Christ, his community, like I follow like the polls and stuff.
I'm definitely gonna look him up now, though. So
yeah, well, he had a poll about what it was, who's a better leader. It was between like Putin, Biden, and Trudeau, and Putin got like 70% of the votes on his like community tab, and I was like, holy fuck.
That's it's a good litmus test.
Yeah, and so it's like insane shit, and that's why like I was like, okay, like I can do this, I can talk about this stuff, but there's also like this fine line, and that's part of the reason too that I hide my face. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit more open to doing it. But like, you know, if I talk about trans rights here in Alberta, it is this feeling if I don't toe the exact perfect line, and I could get into trouble, where I want to be able to speak as openly, honestly, and freely, and open myself to like criticism or change or whatever it might be. So,
yeah, it definitely makes sense. My father-in-law is from Alberta, so
yeah.
I know what it's like.
Yeah. Slayer, p-value is just like statistical significance. So generally a p-value is set at like 5%. So it's this is going to be really general, but like it's basically saying there's like a 5% probability you're wrong. That's not exactly true to what a p-value is, but you can kind of think of it that way. So the lower your p-value, kind of the more confidence you have in your analysis. But it's a way to like statistically analyze your data to say whether it's statistically significant or not. And p-value of 0.05 is typically the standard used. So when Vegan Gains brought up his studies, the p-value, I don't know if any of the p-values were below 0.05, and they were like super close to each other. It was like one of the dumbest things that I'd ever seen. I want to throw my head through a wall. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Like I said, I'm not the best multitasker in the world. So my girlfriend was just like, you're gonna have to learn pretty quick. So sorry if I'm jumping around a little bit there, buddy.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's fun.
Yeah, no, it's good to chat. And like I said, to anybody who's coming on, if they want to come chat, I'm always open to it. So p-value 1 guarantees you're wrong. I technically, yeah. I mean, your data could be in the section that you consider a p-value is wrong. You would just be taking the entire thing. If you look at like p-value curves, yeah, you're kind of looking at the tails. Let me just, this is good enough. Yeah, p-values, confidence intervals. It's things like this. Slayer. So yeah, it's you wouldn't put a p-value of 1 technically, because it would just be all the data. Yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Where were we?
I'm not sure.
No. But yeah, I think it was like generally around like liberalism and things like that, and yeah, just like I don't know. I think I grew up with a lot of confrontation in my life. Like my dad told me this story when I was a kid. He's like, yeah, me and my dad would like get into like yelling matches and argue all the time. Or not yelling matches, but like argue very loudly. And then he said one time his girlfriend, he found his girlfriend in his room crying because she's like, you and your dad hate each other. And he's like, no, that's just how we talk. And that's kind of what I got used to. So I enjoy the combativeness of like debates and things like that, which may not have been necessarily on show for my first debate, where I think I was trying to be as nice as possible. I don't know if you watched
Yeah, you
that
were definitely
3-hour shit
such a.
show.
I did. I watched the whole thing.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, I have an office job. I do.
Oh, nice.
I don't want, but maybe I don't want to give away too much. I do.
No, yeah, just
I do
general.
like
Yeah,
engineering technology style stuff. I don't know how far to go, but I'm on a computer all day,
yeah.
so I'm often listening to podcasts that are like I'm listening to Destiny a lot, and
Hmm.
his debates go long too, so
Yeah.
I'm used to it. And yeah, you're definitely a lot nicer to him, I think, than you needed to be, but
Mm.
that's okay. It's nice to be that way, anyways, because like it's not as aggressive or combative. It's two people genuinely trying to,
Mhm.
understand each other, I guess. But
Yeah,
well, more on your part, I guess, than his. But
yeah. I think those parts are a little bit more fun. Like when you have like an honest conversation with someone. I watched what's his name, Alex and Jordan Peterson.
oh, Alex
Alex,
O'Connor.
yeah, Alex O'Connor, and like
Yeah.
he finally got Jordan Peterson. It still was hard to listen to, but he finally got Jordan Peterson
Yeah.
to like answer a fucking question.
I never finished that one. I think I got a half hour in, and I was
Yeah.
just like, okay. I don't know. Maybe I should have watched more, but I just thought like I was like, okay, he's just going to be super nice to Jordan the whole time, and it's going to be. I don't know. Yeah, because I kind of felt like Destiny never went as hard on Jordan as he should have either. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, maybe this is like maybe it's part of Jordan's strategy. Maybe he could just draw that out of you. I don't know, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, people are just. I feel like he really needs to get into Jordan needs to get into a debate where people are super aggressive against him.
I
I think that
think
would be
you would
awesome.
enjoy the what's his name? Fuck. He's another atheist. He does I think the Atheist Experience. The hell is his name? Matt Dillahunty. The
Oh yes,
Matt
I watched
Dillahunty
that
and
one.
Jordan
Yeah.
Peterson was it was the first time I was like, holy shit. Like
Well, it showed
good on.
how I that was one of the first debates I think I saw where um Jordan actually seemed like incoherent when he was
Hmm.
trying to do the things like no, you actually do believe, you just don't know it. And I'm just like, what do you mean? And they went down that road for so long. Oh man, and I was just like, this guy's unhinged.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a period of my life where I loved Jordan Peterson. I
Me
would
too.
say I was a conservative about uh I'm gonna say maybe 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. And yeah, I went down to big rabbit hole. I love Jordan. I love Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, me too, man.
yeah, it's really
We're
bad.
yeah, probably
But
very similar in that. Like, I think I said that in my one video that was, I guess, a little bit more personal, but like I was a Maxim Bernier fan. I was
right,
rooting for
yeah,
him. So
that was right around the time when I started to transition over
mhm.
to a liberal. Yeah, what year was that? When
That
did I
was
sign
like,
up?
I think that was 2017, 2016.
2017. Yeah.
To,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's when I was like, okay, so maybe it's longer ago than I thought. But I was I was heavy into I think there was a Steven Crowder video where he said something like you should go and listen to the left. And I was like, yeah, why don't I do that? I should do that because I always just thought they were all batshit crazy.
And
And I
then you
think
got
one of the first things I
indoctrinated
looked at,
by us damn
and then I got
liberals.
indoctrinated by Destiny.
Yeah.
He was the first one I looked at,
Oh, right on.
surprisingly. I searched up uh something on abortion, I think, and I saw a
Mhm.
conversation with him and Hassan, and I was like, wow, this Destiny guy is very reasonable
Yeah.
because his take on abortion was almost the same as mine. I was still a little bit liberal in that department.
Ah, you're
Well, actually,
Canadian.
no,
I
not
just,
really at that
yeah,
time.
I was gonna say,
I think
yeah.
Destiny was kind of, yeah. He was against it for policy, but he was for it like for his own personal morality. And
Mm.
I thought that was a cool take where if you can't decide on an overall objective morality regarding abortion, then yeah, maybe it should stay out of politics. Maybe you shouldn't have other people decide that for you. I thought that was like pretty nuanced and cool, and interesting for a lefty to say. So I just kept watching more and more and more, and here I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, he was one of the inspirations for sure for my channel. So it's nice to chat with other people who kind of share similar interests. It looks like somebody's down in the waiting room, so I'm just gonna drag them
I don't
in.
want to hog the conversation.
Yeah. No worries. Hey, buddy. Are you there?
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, not bad. I thought I'd check in. I saw you were streaming, and I wanted to gauge temperature of our future discussion.
Oh, you're the nuclear guy.
I am a nuclear guy.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm basically just gonna build a video series on the things that I find, the beliefs that I have, and the information that I get. And yeah, like I said in the very beginning, I'm happy to change my perspective on it. But as far as my perspective goes, I think I made that pretty clear. I don't know how much of a debate you want to get into right now, but we can.
No, it's not necessary. I want to sort of get so ground rules basically is that I'm hoping that you'll have a library of sources that you intend to be the foundation for your position in sometime in the next 2 weeks. Let's say.
That's
And I'll do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go from there. But sort of the founding argument, like if you remember all the intelligence squared debates, is the hypothesis, and from what I understand your position is that we do not need nuclear for decarbonization, and that's the subject of our discussion.
So that was a subject that you put forward. I think that
seems to be your position. Is that correct?
My actual position is probably not that. I think when we had our discussion, I said we should focus on renewables, and then you put forward the no nuclear versus or new nuclear versus no nuclear. I think that's what you said. Which I probably don't fully agree with. I think there's certainly places where nuclear will have its place and be valuable and be useful, and to have a flat no nuclear. But I'm more than happy to take that position, even if I don't fully agree with it, because I accepted the debate. But my actual personal belief on it is there's probably cases. I think my belief is probably that nuclear's place is closer to the 5% or less range, possibly 10%, but definitely in the minority case, and in the space where if other technology develops, it's probably going to be the thing that gets thrown to the wayside. I think that's
right.
That's a more clear context of my perspective.
Globally, or for your specific region, 5 to 10%.
I would say globally, it would make up probably at most 5% of the total global energy demand by 2050.
So let's see, by 2050. So let's see, is 2050 in the realm of doubling or tripling demand?
Yeah, I think it depends on the estimates that we're looking at, but we're looking at anywhere between, I think it's like 46,000 terawatts to 80,000 terawatt hours per year.
Mm-hmm.
In that range, depending on whose estimate we're looking at. But yeah.
And you mean total energy, not simply not
installed. Like I'm talking like energy that's charging my phone, right? Like that.
Okay, electricity, not primary energy.
Yeah, like total electrical energy that we consume. Right now, I believe the number is 25,000 terawatt hours, but that's just electrical energy demand. That's not including like oil and gas and things like that.
Right, oil and that's sort of the theme here is decarbonization, and so you're going to want to address how we expand that electricity to eclipse all other energy consumption, right?
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, just so it's on record, I did come in a little hot and heavy, and I hope we can have a cordial discussion. We're having one right now. I was a dick, and I'm sorry for that, buddy.
I accept it. I think we can get there, but I think that to have a fun and entertaining discussion, the way that I'm going to rephrase it is that you are going to say that we are only going to replace our current level of nuclear because that would maintain us at about 9 to 10% of global electricity mix.
Am I? So sorry, I should have said like of new things. So I've never been for shutting down nuclear power plants. We both agree that they're cheap as shit. So like, if you can extend the lives, if you can do any of that with nuclear, I'm very pro that regard. But
10% of new generation by 2050.
Yeah, to my knowledge, nuclear is around 2,200 terawatt hours. Per year is about how much production it has. If I'm pulling that,
I haven't looked at the survey statistical survey.
Yeah, so that would be about 10% right now of total energy demand, based on that. But yeah.
Okay, and is this a should or a reality based argument? Is it like we ought to expand? I
want us to reduce as many barriers as possible for nuclear. I want it to compete on the market standpoint. I want it to have as good an opportunity as it can to succeed. And if it does succeed, I'm more than happy for it to succeed.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're sort of saying that we should focus on 90% renewables. And that's sort of like your argument then is, yes, we can do nuclear, but we should focus on 90% renewables at this point, all the way to 2050.
Yeah, I think that would be broadly where my position is. I think my argument is almost going to be entirely economic based, and that's an avenue where you think I'm wrong or off. That's honestly where I'd like to be. I think
we can have a productive discussion.
Yeah.
I think we can have a productive discussion in that range. And especially some of the sources that I gave you previously are informative on that. Yep. But this is sort of that range of, I almost don't care at this point because 90% renewables, as far as I'm concerned, is okay. For the next 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. And it's more after that, like, okay, why haven't we done more in nuclear? Why have we done like 0 in nuclear versus what I think we should do? But I think having that open question is, we should devote 90% of our clean energy resources towards renewables is a good point to delineate our positions, and we can sort of go over the economics and the potential for decarbonization, and I'll have some sources to you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, same here. Like I think I have most of the things that I think that I want. I don't know if there's a whole lot more. I also don't want to like inundate you with like fucking 80 studies that all more or less say the same thing. Well,
if you have more that I can trace back to MZ Jacobson, I will just be overjoyed.
MZ
Jacobson. Yeah. Jacobson. So sorry, when you showed me the transmission study, and I saw Jacobson in the citations, mm-hmm. I knew I was going to have a fun time.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm interested on where it goes. But. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that probably...
If you want to head that off in any way, check out Retraction Watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the nuclear advocacy space, there's a lot going on with MZ Jacobson, and there have been significant developments in the work that he has done, the people who have done peer review and done responses to him in journals, and the fallout surrounding that.
Yeah. That is good to know. I'll have to like I'll have to look more into it then.
Yeah, great. Okay, I gotta go, but
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
See ya.
Bye. Okay, well, I hope that was fun for everybody. I didn't know where that was going to go at the beginning. Hey Andy. Yeah, it's
Fun for me.
yeah. I was like, actually, this gets into what we were talking about of like, when you argue with people, you want some level of rapport, and the second that it gets combative, then people's brains usually just shut off. So I honestly didn't know where that was going to go. So, you start with saying, hey, I'm sorry. And it's a bit of a debate tactic, but also something I truly feel. Yeah.
As Destiny always says, it's good to hedge. Straighten everything out at first.
Yeah. And I think
at the start, I guess, before you dive in. And yeah.
What was the name that he said? I'm wondering if it's
MZ Jacobson.
MZ Jacobson. Yeah.
Retraction Watch was, I think, the website.
Yeah.
Mentioned.
I'm just gonna quickly look because I'm not sure if it's.
Was he in the Lazard study? Is that what?
No, I think it was the Angahaseni study. I just can't spell Angahaseni. So I just want to see if he was a main author or is just being referenced. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so that's where I'm confused. It looks like he may have just been a reference in the study that I provided. Just for everyone's reference, this is the study that I am mentioning. Let me just get the link. Science Direct. Yeah, so as you can see, MZ Jacobson isn't in here as one of the authors, so possibly one of the Mark Jacobson. Yeah, he's not one of the authors of the study. He could possibly be one of the many references. I'll have to Control F for that. Jacobson. Let's see. Jacobson et al. Yeah. So it looks like he's authors. He's a noted. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, this gets into the actual interesting meat and potatoes of these types of things. Like, and this is what I was saying about having good institutions of like,
right.
I'm excited to learn. It looks like reference 37 from 2015 and 2011, 2012. So it looks like he's referenced a number of times on the different systems, but that would probably make sense though, given he's probably he literally references every one of Jacobson's papers, and so that's why he has a bunch of references in there. But it doesn't necessarily mean that
this guy might be a hack.
It also doesn't necessarily mean like you can reference certain authors as reference, but then get data from other places. So I know that the actual transmission costs that the Agahasani study used is not what the power costs were. So I'll have to track down where it was used specifically, or if it was just referenced that, hey, other people have done these studies. Because when you write these papers, you a lot of the time will reference, hey, these are other studies within the same area. This is what they did. Now I'm going to show you what I've done. So
right. Yeah, that's where the Substack will come in handy for that one.
Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine that would be a very interesting video of me tracking that down
Digging
specifically.
through all of Mark Jacobson's papers and finding out where he was wrong, and then figuring out how that makes your studies that you are presenting wrong. And
yeah,
that'd be
possibly. I would be curious on how that's referenced. It might be a good chat for me and Mr. Decarbonize to have.
I've checked out some of his videos too.
Yeah, he's good. He knows a lot of stuff. But is there anything else you were on your mind or anything of that regard?
Nah, I'm kind of just hanging out now.
No worries.
Yeah, if there's anything specific you want to talk to, I can get off.
No, I don't think there's anybody else on unless Mr. Decarbonize would like to jump on. I'd be happy to chat with him. But if there's nothing else, I'm not going to be able to track this down right now. But it gives me some reading to do tomorrow morning for sure. Jason Hinkle's Slayer. Jackson Hinkle?
No.
My goodness, that is a familiar name.
That's the political guy, right? Yeah.
Let me see. Is it Jason or Jackson?
I think
Decarbonize.
It might be somebody else.
Yeah. Decarbonize. Just jump into the waiting room and I'll drag you in.
Yeah. Well, anyways, thanks for having me on. I'll let you
chat
of course.
with
Decarbonize. I'll be in the chat checking it out. All right. Thanks a lot for talking to me.
Yeah. Awesome. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right. Later, man.
Soyotl, I do hate degrowthers. So I can't imagine that I would like him very much. I think the degrowth stuff is pretty bad. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of devoid from reality. So without me knowing too much, that would be my starting position on the degrowth statement. I don't think it's reasonable or feasible or even remotely going to happen. Jackson Hinkle. Oh, is he? Did Econo Boy do a video on him? I don't remember. Okay, now I'm just getting confused. Oh, 1 sec. Okay. Hey, buddy. If you're talking, I can't hear you. Decarbonize.
Am I here?
Oh, yep. There you go.
Okay. Okay, I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect.
I didn't know if we were on YouTube or on your server.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I stream through YouTube, but yeah, you're just on the Discord. And again, anybody who wants to come chat with me, you can just jump into the waiting room and I'll drag you in. But yeah, how are you doing, man? I don't think we've chatted since we made the video together. That was a lot of fun. Oh, are you there?
I'm hearing something like an echo.
Oh, it could just be my
A
mic.
delay.
Oh, probably mute the YouTube chat, possibly, because you might be getting both of those coming through.
I'm getting two. Everything I'm hearing twice, delayed by about 5 seconds.
Oh yeah. Definitely mute the YouTube stream.
Okay, I've just closed the whole YouTube.
Okay, there you go. But yeah, if anybody hasn't checked out Decarbonize's videos, they definitely should. I was on there chatting a little bit about my experience with mining and the mineral side. But he puts on a lot of really good videos, kind of about some of the minutia and some of the solutions to climate change.
Yeah, I'm right now doing a series on transmission.
Yeah.
So
my favorite.
Well, none of this works without a lot more transmission.
Yep. Yeah, that seems to be Lazard literally just came out with their 2024 levelized cost of energy systems, and they finally added kind of like the firm cost of renewables, but they still do it on a pretty small scale, so that obviously jacks up the price. Where transmission makes up about 50% of the total cost just for the firming load. And obviously we both kind of advocate for the big copper plate, long transmission. The guy I'm going to talk to probably tomorrow is one of those, or kind of has a lot of knowledge in that industry. That was who I chatted with last week. When I was building my amazing City Skylines 2 city. But yeah, do you have any comments on the nuclear side, on anything that maybe on my last video, or
I only caught the very end of the conversation, and the one issue that I make sure is covered, and you might have talked about it earlier, I didn't hear it, is the development time is for nuclear, at least outside of France, where, in France, they've built up a whole, literally an industry around a fairly unified approach to nuclear so they can crank them out. But I don't know anywhere else in the world except maybe China that has that set. So
with doing my research and prepping for another video, it looks like the trend line that I've seen is 5.5 years plus, I think it's like 0.5 years per 2 gigawatts or something like that. So basically, like the way the trend line works ends up, the trend line's a bit more complicated than that, but it ends up being that a 1 gigawatt nuclear power plant, it produces or takes about 7 years to build, which I don't think is the end of the world. And based off the discussion I just had with him, that seems to be probably not a hill he's going to die on, and more of one of like, okay, while we're building up all of these renewable systems, we should also be doing nuclear and go on. I don't want to be putting words in his mouth, but that more or less seems the perspective that he's at, of like, once we hit 2035 to 2040, we should be building a bunch of nuclear power plants. That was the impression that I got. If anybody in the chat thinks that I'm getting the impression wrong, you can correct me, but yeah.
Remember how long the plants in let's see, I'm gonna just look it up rather than ask.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Vogtol, I think, was 16 years ish.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but the South Korean ones are being built in the like 5-year range. So is Japan, and so is China, excluding the SMRs. I believe their SMR took like 16 years or something crazy like that. But there are other nuclear power
Japan
plants.
stopped on nuclear.
I think
building new nuclear.
I think they're recommissioning old ones, but when they were building them, it was in the 5-year range.
Yeah.
Yeah. But South Korea seems to be the golden child for nuclear. And so I think if I'm going to make a Steelman argument, it should be kind of around the South Korean case, though it is heavily, heavily subsidized. Mm-hmm. So Volga was nearly extracted by a shit ton of... Oh, now I got to bump it again because I can't read it. NRC, or by a shit NRC chair. Yeah, from what I understand, Vogdal was like a total shit show. And then, yeah, the thing with SMRs, and I was... I think somebody commented this. Oh, no, it was a video I watched. And it put it into a good perspective for me, is that like the issue with SMRs is like you don't get the economies of scale anymore that you get with big nuclear, but rather you're trying to get on like the mass production line. But if you're only building 10,000, maybe 20,000 SMRs total globally, it's not really enough for like the economies of scale to justify like the systems you're going to be building, especially because they're going to be different components, different systems all over the world. There's like probably about 20,000 total. I back calculated the math today. And I think it was 17,000 if our entire world went SMR direction. But really, if you're in that 10% zone, then it's like you'd build like 1,700 SMRs. And there's no way you're going to build like full assembly lines. They're essentially just going to be more of the same, like not necessarily custom built. There might be some level of redundancy that you get, but I don't think you're going to get the economies of scale that people are expecting. So Slayer 420, I would agree.
I can still imagine with the SMRs that having them built in a factory and shipped, basically built and just having them installed, rather than building a nuclear power plant in situ, would save costs even if you don't get mass production levels. They're all being built by people who are trained and who are building the same thing every day. You don't have to get high volumes. You just have to get enough that your work stream is full.
Yep.
And if you're building 50 a year even, you could get a lot of economies because you're not redesigning, you're not retraining people.
Yeah, you'll certainly get those, but you won't get the economies of scale of like the cube squared law or anything that large nuclear reactors get, where you like the important concepts of like when you make a pipe bigger, you increase your volume by the cube and your surface area by the square, right? So, and so when you make smaller systems, you go in the opposite direction of that. Versus when we think about economies of scale for like solar, how many, like literally billions of solar panels are we building that can be put onto assembly line and ramped up in that direction? And that's when, so yes, you'll get economies of scale with SMRs, but when we're talking about economies of scale, we're talking about orders of magnitude different between VREs and nuclear.
One of the things, when I was in Ireland, we had a couple of members of the Energy Committee who were strongly pro-nuclear.
Mm-hmm.
And I agreed with them to have that be on our agenda and talk about it within the committee.
Mm-hmm.
In Ireland, it is against the Constitution of nuclear power. So you're starting with a huge hurdle to even get it thought about.
Interesting.
To include it in planning. And So we talked about it, and I just came away with a small country that is one of the best, has some of the best wind resources in the world. And we have history with wind. We have zero history with nuclear, and it just makes no sense here, given the public attitudes about it.
Mhm.
If I lived in Poland, I might feel very differently, where you don't have good solar resources and you don't have good wind resources. But in Ireland and also in the United States, we have some of the best wind and solar resources in the world.
Mhm.
And so it makes, I feel like nuclear is climbing uphill here. And if the Japanese aren't even doing it anymore, where it makes a lot more sense than here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
there are places where it makes a lot of sense. It might make a lot more. There are places where it makes more sense than the U.S.
Mhm.
And if I was a nuclear proponent, I would focus on places that aren't rich in wind and solar rather than U.S.
Yeah, I mean, not to bang the same drum and just sit here and agree with each other, but I think that's largely the position that I'm coming from. Like, it seems like in the cases of potentially like islands, like Japan and South Korea, for all practical purposes, is an island.
Yeah.
They seem to be really good solutions. It's just when I started researching this topic and I was looking into what like South Korea's energy plans were, nuclear, I think, increased by like 2% by 2035, and solar and wind increased by like 20% by 2035. And South Korea is kind of the quintessential best case example that we have for nuclear potential. And so when I saw that it makes it increasingly difficult when I'm doing this research, because I'm trying not to like fall into my own biases and my own traps and stuff like that. And that's why I want the feedback from anybody who views this or anybody who watches this. And I honestly, like, this discussion, he seemed cordial enough. Like, I don't think it's going to be aggressive. I hope it's really good, where we can kind of nail down these topics and like ask him questions and be like, well, why do you think this? Why do you think that? And like, this is the perspective that I'm coming at it from, like, etc. Because it seems like his position on it's kind of more reasonable. And I mean, that is how it is. Twitter is a fucking cesspool, and I should never go on it because I get so incredibly unhinged, and then I come and like talk to him. It's like, oh, honestly, he's a pretty nice guy, and I feel bad for being mean to him. We were both kind of going at it, but like, yeah.
Well, I just brought up the net generation electricity for China.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to 2020, so I might be able to find something a little more modern. But looking, nuclear is just a sliver.
Yeah.
And is growing very slowly. It is growing.
Yep.
While wind and solar are growing, I'm just spitballing by looking at this, probably at 2 or 3 times the rate.
Yeah.
Solar looks like it's about the same as nuclear in 2020, and wind looks like it's about 3 times nuclear.
Yep.
And, most of it's still coal.
Yep.
And what's not coal is largely hydro.
Yeah, they have a good amount of hydro in China. That's why they built a lot of those ultra high voltage power lines, so that they can punch energy from their hydro plants into their cities. I think I can't remember. I was looking it up, but like it was like 9. Is that gigawatts or gigawatt hour growth? I think what Decarbonize is talking about is like current energy productions. When I talk about the growth of last year for China Soyadal, it was 300 gigawatts of solar and wind, and 3 gigawatts of nuclear. But if you prorate that to like capacity factors of 25%, then instead of it being 100 times, it's probably closer to like 20 or 30 times the actual gigawatt hour growth that China would have seen last year relative with the two relative. I guess I built a different Twitter is made for base rage maxers like me. No, I just like I get rage baited so easily on Twitter. It's terrible. I'm nowhere near as bad as Destiny, but I think he does a lot of it intentionally. I find it a really bad platform to get my ideas across, and maybe I'm just not good at being concise. You could argue that could be one of the places I could improve with my videos, is being a bit more concise or more concise with my speech. But I think the lack of conciseness just ends up making things a little bit worse. But I do have fun on Twitter. I just probably should take breaks from it. Like I'll come downstairs and my girlfriend, my girlfriend will be like, why are you in such a bad mood? I was like, because fucking Twitter. But yeah, Slayer 420, you might just be built a little bit differently than me. Well, since I have you here, Decarbonize, and you didn't want to necessarily make a video on it, do you want to talk about SO2 a little bit and what I sent you? Not to
Sure,
to ambush you with it. I'll link it in the chat.
I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about being mad.
Put the link in the chat. But it looked like a good study, but the basic take-home story from that study is something that's well known, that we've been, from the Industrial Revolution until the 1970s, we were just burning coal and letting everything go up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a lot of aerosols from that, which created smog, created acid rain, and it reflected a lot of sunlight, which is cooling. In the same way a volcano is cooling. Is well understood and well documented. This was just another study in that series, because as bunker fuel for shipping was cleaned up and now has lower sulfur content, it creates fewer aerosols, which reflects less sunlight and leads to more heating. And what we were doing, just like we were inadvertently and without any thought heating the planet, by putting these aerosols in it, we were also inadvertently and without any thought cooling it, with lots of negative effects, including most notably acid rain. So we cleaned up the sulfur. We don't get acid rain anymore. Forests aren't dying. Fish aren't dying. Now the planet is warming even faster.
Yeah.
So some people think we should intentionally inject aerosols into the upper atmosphere in what's called solar modulation. It's another three-letter acronym, a TLA. I forget exactly. Which I am very opposed to for several reasons.
Yes, I am also. just so we're on the same page.
Yeah, it's a bad any of this solar modulation. One, it doesn't deal with ocean acidification at all.
Mm-hmm.
Two, once you start doing it, if you do enough of it to be useful, and then you stop, things get very bad very quickly, because these aerosols don't stay in the atmosphere very long. If you stop injecting them, then you're going to get catastrophic heating, even worse. And that rather than having it in chunks slowly that are too fast for us to respond to, but we can respond to a bit, we'll get a lot of heating all at once with even less time to respond to it, for mitigations. And there are those who think that if we do this, then there'll be less impetus to decarbonize, which everyone who's in favor of geoengineering says it does not mean we don't have to decarbonize just as quickly as ever. But it would, unfortunately, I think, lead to slower decarbonization and an misallocation of resources. I actually wrote a short story on on geoengineering, and I'll put a link in the chat for anyone who cares. Because I think it is going to happen, and it's going to happen badly. So I don't mind research on it. Like this is research on it. I think research on it is totally reasonable, but actually any plans to do it by anything other than just doing research and gathering data is really a bad idea. And there was nothing in that paper that made me think, well, maybe it's not that bad.
Hey, Flickwith, I guess you just you saw my the label of my chat. I figure I would just lean into it. You know, I'm pro carbon taxes, which makes me a liberal shill here in Canada. But yeah, I mostly make videos about like decarbonization strategies and carbon taxes and Canadian politics and that kind of stuff. But you know, huge shill for the Liberal government. In fact, Trudeau comes to my house and pays me in gold every couple months. But no, me and Decarbonize are just chatting a little bit about SO2, and my understanding of Decarbonize is that Andy, sorry, I don't want to to dox anybody on these things, so I try to use the
no, I'm open on
but yeah, my understanding the paper was mostly just saying like, hey, as we do these things and make these emission targets better, and China kind of gets better emissions, the aerosol effect is going to minimize. Damn, what a nice Canadian. Well, hopefully my accent doesn't come through too hard. If I ever do a drinking stream, then my accent will come real strong. But for now it should be okay. But yeah, if you saw the link that I had with the IPCC report, it shows a good relationship of like what the effects of GHG emissions are and the effects of aerosols. Let me just point out what the colors are. So yeah, you'll see the red are greenhouse gas emissions due to humans, and then the blue is aerosol for humans, and the natural causes are practically zero for all practical purposes. And then you get the black line, which kind of combines all of the different forcings. So that's kind of what we're talking about in this regard when it comes to clearing up these emission standards. You're going to start seeing that aerosol line decrease, which is going to lift up the black line up towards the red one. So yeah.
As we clean up the air, we're going to be making climate even worse.
Yes. which is obviously a good thing. We're pro cleaning up the air. The Emissions Act in the 70s was a great idea. Like, all of these things are good. They're just different ways to clean up the air. So it's always funny to me when I see a drinking stream. Maybe if I do a Friday night drinking stream, because I still have to get up at 5 a.m. to work out. So who's the other one talking? So I'm Dungeons, Deadlifts, and Decarbonization. And the other person talking is Andy from Decarbonize. So you can probably just call me D. When I made this channel name, I didn't put a lot of forethought into what people might actually call me. So if you want to just call me a guy with a weightlifting dragon avatar or a liberal shill, you're welcome to do that. But
So
I
are
think.
you in Seattle? Oh, sorry.
Oh no! Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
But yeah, is there drinking stream? Fuck. Yeah, I mean, we could always do one on a Friday night so I can function. Yeah, I did use AI to generate it. I am not an artist by any means. So, but if this channel ever makes money, my plan was I would commission an artist to make me a proper avatar. I know the AI art stuff has some political divisiveness. Data Torque is pretty good name. That one too. So we're supposed to believe. Yeah, what's that meme, Slayer, where it's like instructions unclear, like I ate the Play-Doh, that kind of thing. Isn't it like 1 or 2 in the morning for you, Slayer? I'm impressed you're still up, but yeah, D Cubed. That's a good name too, Lewis. But yeah, it's really whatever y'all want. But it's 3:30 a.m. Oh my goodness, buddy. Well, thanks for sticking around and staying and chatting. It's been a lot of fun. But yeah, I guess I'm not sure if there's anything else you want to chat about, Andy.
Oh, that's good. I hope your engagement with Slayer 420 continues to be mutually productive in terms of educating both ourselves and each other.
Yeah, well, I just have to get used to him trolling me on every one of my videos.
Well, I've got a guy I'm trolling, so it's part of the problem of the fame of being a YouTuber.
I don't know about that. But cool. Yeah. Well, I'll let you have your evening back. I think it's only 6:30 for you. It's around 7:30 for me. In, I guess, more or less honor of my channel and the actual dungeons part. I think if anybody's heard about it, like I love Dungeons and Dragons, or Pathfinder or whatever it might be. And I think kind of in honor of that, the game that I'm going to play, if there is no kind of chat or anything, is going to be Baldur's Gate 3. So the CRPG version of Dungeons and Dragons. If people are interested in watching that, if that doesn't interest you, then then you can tune off. But I'll continue looking at the chat and responding as you guys come up with questions. But I figure it'll be a little bit more interesting than just my what is it called? My waveform visualizer, as it's called on OBS, moving up and down. And D&D is for nerds. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy that 2 guys talking about climate change might have some nerdy hobbies. Well, one guy, at least on my end. But yeah, I've DM'd Pathfinder and D&D. So Pathfinder 2e and D&D 5th edition since COVID with my buddies. And so if anybody has any questions about that, I'm always happy to field those. And I'm also I do like natural bodybuilding and other things like that. Play some music. That waveform is for music only. Very fair. Yeah, again, if anybody, or like I said earlier, Akano Boy was one of my I guess, people that I took inspiration from. And so the waveform is kind of me, copying him. But anyway, Decarbonize, always happy to have you on, and you can jump in and chat at any time. So.
and I always feel welcome.
Awesome. Okay. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Okay, talk to you later.
No, Slayer. I'm gonna switch gears and start playing Baldur's Gate. I figure we got two options, and if you guys wanna, I don't know if anybody's ever played it, so I can go through kind of how the game works and whatnot, and how these CRPGs work. But we can look at either making what class? I haven't made the character yet, so we can build the class together. I was thinking. Kind of in honor of the channel, either make a druid, make a nice hippie druid, nature loving druid, or go with a electricity sorcerer, because I talk so much about power systems and electricity, and to kind of metagame it a little bit, having a high charisma character in Baldur's Gate is kind of useful as your main character. I'm just gonna set it up. I'm gonna make sure I turn off the nudity so I don't get banned. So just give me a moment while I fix that. So unfortunately, we won't get to pick our gotta be a dragonborn. Maybe I'll let the chat vote on what they want most. Just give me a minute to get it all set up, and hopefully my computer doesn't melt. But yeah, you guys can start shouting out what you want. I also don't have to do sorcerer or a druid. And if you want to add me on Steam, you're welcome to do that as well. It's literally just DDD carbon. So DDD. If you want to do that. But let me just get this set up. And like I said, got to turn off the nudity so I don't get in any trouble. Oh, let it patch for a minute. But yeah, is there any races you guys want me to go with? I might change the name of the stream if I can figure out how to do that. How about Woke Liberal Shill plays Baldur's Gate 3? There we go. Okay. But yeah, the options at the moment are you're a YouTube, so you could be a bard. I think I'll save that if I do a Justin Trudeau playthrough. He'll be a bard that specializes in disguise self. If any Canadians in the chat get the joke. Fuck. Okay. Is the sound coming through for the game? Just want to make sure. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a learning experience for me on, on how to do this. Yeah, perfect. Cool. That show nudity. No, unfortunately. Okay. Yes. Okay, let's get the stream switched over. Let us do. Oh, there you go. I can put the waveform at the bottom of the screen. Let me. Okay. 1 second. Game capture. Sorry, just gotta. There we go. I think you should be able to see it at the bottom of the screen now. The stream's a little bit behind, but it should appear in a minute. And then we can get it started once the stream updates properly. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, let's just start a new game and give her. So we got some options here. Would you guys rather me play on Tactician and have a little bit of breathing room, or we can go straight for Honor mode, where if we TPK, we're dead? I might have to build a little bit more meta in the Honor case, or we can just TPK. But do you guys have a preference? Because I'm fine with either. Let me... Go hard or go home. Roll a dice. Alright, we can go with Honor mode. And hopefully we don't lose all of our progress. Whatever. So yeah, I'll start building the character, and you guys can shout out anything that you'd like to see. And yeah, we'll probably play through. I'll be quiet for the cinematic if you haven't seen it before. Okay, yeah, we'll turn off the tutorials and pop-ups. Sorry about the video being silent. It's because I clicked out to go into the chat, so that's my bad. Yeah, you all, the stream's a little bit behind, so I'm just going to go through and do a custom origin, and then we can pick what we want. So I heard Dragonborn called out, so we can do that unless anybody wants to see some of the other races. But basically, the way that these CRPGs work is you basically build a Dungeons & Dragons character, whatever character the type of game would do. So there's like Pathfinder ones, there's Divinity Original Sin, which was Larian Studio before this. But basically for D&D, we have a bunch of different races, and they have different abilities. And I can just give you a mention, like you basically have 6 different type of abilities. So strength, dex, con, intellect, wisdom, charisma. They're kind of self-explanatory, obviously. And then different races are going to maybe get cantrips. So cantrips are what are called like 0th level spells, basically things you can cast without resources. And then you'll get different actions that can do things. And your character will be proficient with different weapons and different armors and different skills. And those skills you use throughout the game. Sorry if I'm going through it a little bit fast. If you don't understand or know anything, I'm happy to answer it. I once did a Tempest Cleric 1 Storm Sword. Oh, that's what I was thinking of doing. Fits the theme of the channel. Yeah. Okay, so I'm happy to stay with the Dragonborn. Yeah, we'll do the Tempest Cleric with Storm Sorcerer. Michael, did you start with 1 level of Cleric and then go to Storm Sorcerer? Or did you start with Storm Sorcerer? Because I was probably going to start with Storm Sorcerer. I don't know. Probably start with Storm Sorcerer, just to have the high charisma score. Yeah. And then for any D&D cool lore, you basically have chromatic and metallic dragons. So the chromatic dragons are like black, blue, green, red, white. Are like the bad dragons, and then the kind of quote-unquote good dragons are like silver, copper, gold, brass. And I mentioned Tiamat as like a battery power company, but Tiamat is also the evil chromatic dragon who split off Io and then like killed her brother or something like that. I can't remember the lore exactly. I believe I started Cleric with heavy armor, but you can probably go either way, yeah. But yeah, basically the way that Dragonborn work is that we're going to get a special breath attack that's related to the type of dragon that it is. Understood nothing, let's play. Okay, sweet. Gold dragons are fun. I've always been privy to bronze dragons, bronze and brass. Actually, we're going lightning. We're gonna go with bronze dragon, I think. And then in terms of class, like we said, we'll go sorcerer. And then with sorcerer, we can pick different cantrips. I can troll anybody by picking True Strike. But obviously we got to go with Shocking Grasp. I think Ray of Frost works with the sorcerer build. We'll grab light, and we can grab... we're in honor mode. We might want to not do friends because it could really fuck up your playthrough. We'll do Mage Hand. And then in terms of spells, I say that Chromatic Orb and Magic Missile is absolutely my favorite spell in the entire game. But I won't cheese it and just be a Magic Missile shill. I guess we'll pick what is honestly one of the worst spells in the game, but we'll stay thematic. So we'll go Witch's Bolt, and then we'll have Chromatic Orb, which we can also cast with any type of magic. So it could be electricity as well. And then obviously we got to go Storm Sorcerer. So we'll be able to fly after casting a spell. And then in terms of background, this is just going to give you some different skills. I think probably go with Insight Perception. So Guild Artisan is going to be really good. But if you really want to build your character thematically, this gives you some options. And then in terms of ability scores, we're probably going to go for the Hag's Hair. If anybody's played that, that's fine. But 17 charisma, so you want to max out your charisma skill. Basically, every 2 points, you get a +1 to your attack and damage with whatever kind of your key skill modifier is. So we're a charisma caster, so we want a high charisma. Usually you want like a 12 wisdom at least, because that's your perception. That's important. We don't need to be smart. Constitution stops you from dying, so we want that to be at least 12. Dexterity stops us from dying. And then generally you want at least 10 strength so that you can sort of jump in this game. In terms, we can get a lot of things that boost our AC, so I'm not super worried about Dex. And so we'll probably push a lot of these into Constitution. And then we'll have 1 point left. We could also push that down and do 14, 14, 17. I think that's a good spread. We can also respec if we have any issues, and then we can pick special abilities here. So those all look good. Perfect. And then from there, we can edit our appearance. We can go male or female or non-binary. I usually just pick male because I'm male. And then we get some different head choices. I think I like this one. And then we can pick some different styles of character. If anybody has something they particularly like, I like this one with the fins. We'll do that, and then we'll have a nice little spiked chin. I think that's pretty good. But there's a number of customization options. We can go. Let's do a Drit Stewarden purple-eyed character. And then in terms of makeup or anything else like that, we can add a little bit. I think that's good. Yeah. Sorry to take a little bit of time, but we can proceed there, and we'll just go with liberal shill, obviously. There we go, and then we can proceed from there. In terms of a guardian, you kind of can go through the same stuff. I won't spend too much time. Came for the education and stayed for the Sims playthrough. But this is just this is going to be your guardian, so we'll go with the female tiefling. Sounds good to me. Okay, awesome. God, I fucking love this game so much. Yeah, I'm just excited to play it. Like, getting to replay this game every Tuesday night. I'm happy to do. So, I hope you all enjoy it too. But yeah, if there's any decisions or anything you guys want me to make, or anything at all, we can do it. I just gotta change one control. I like these to be inversed. So E and Q. Okay, there we go.
Can't slow down.
So one thing you can do, which some people don't know, is if you hold Alt, you can see what's on the ground to be looted. So we'll just grab all of this good stuff. This is a healing restoration pit. And that is a sphincter. So anyway, with these games, you want to collect as much loot and goodies as you can because it makes your character more powerful. I've already played this game before. Yeah, Slayer, I'm going to do a full playthrough. I don't know how popular it'll be. I'll probably keep this format of like starting out if anybody wants to call in and hang out and chat, and then when that kind of dies down, I'm happy to just to play this game that I fucking love. I have played it before, so I'll try not to spoil too many things, but I just generally will go the right direction, as it were. So this is fun. And I'll try not to skip any dialogues either, so that people can see.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return. They return.
Yeah, the character does look super dope. Sphincter's powered by natural gas. Very funny. Only if they're connected to carbon capture, obviously. But actually, fun fact, these ships are living things, these Illithid ships. You sound afraid.
Enemy. So many enemies. A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You know no creature like this. One that is more brain than person.
Oh, Slayer. No. I will not be doing the full playthrough tonight. This game, since I'm not going to be really like skipping cutscenes or anything like that, and I'll try to like interact with anybody who's interested on like some of the decisions we can make. This is honor mode, so our decisions have consequences. But the full playthrough is going to be like 60 hours realistically. So
Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
As I'm talking over this, so if you just hover over these, this will tell you what kind of chance you have. So Slayer, you wanted me to roll some dice. So this is me rolling dice. Hopefully I don't break the brain. There we go. So it adds whatever modifiers you have onto it, and it tells you what the difficulty class is over there. So
The brain lifts from the skull. But you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient, should it prove a threat.
and I'm going to spare the creature.
Free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses.
Yeah, Slayer. It's literally a video game, D&D. It's Faerun. It's the same 5e world that Wizards of the Coast has made most of their campaigns predicated on. What should I call you?
Us. We are us.
All right, let's go.
We go.
And if you guys are getting bored with me kind of letting the chats go through, let me know, and I can make it go a little bit faster once the gist of things are gone. But otherwise, if people haven't played the game before, I think it's literally one of the best games, one of the best stories I've ever played. So I think everybody should get the chance to experience it, because this game is truly incredible, and I just can't stress how much I love it. Which makes sense with a name like Dungeons, Deadlifts, and Decarbonization, eh? So, ooh.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
My head. What is this? Skvar. You are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
Yeah, Slayer. Yeah, I definitely, for a game like this, recommend listening to all the dialogue, because it is so well done, and the cast did an amazing job. I believe there's YouTube videos of them actually playing D&D after this with their characters.
Who am I? Your only chance of survival. We carry Mind Flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, Mind Flayers. We can do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. As for that thing, it will remain tame as long as it believes we are thralls. It may be of use in the fight to come.
I thought I turned these off. One sec. Is there? No. Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna get some tutorials. But yeah, it's basically it's D&D Slayer. So I get to go in, I get to murder things, I get to go have fun and attack stuff. So we have this little guy Us who's gonna be helping us. Yeah, you just end turn, and then your abilities are kind of down here. So you can see your spell slots over here, bonus action. As you use stuff, it'll show you what spell slot and what action it uses. Yeah, so I am a backliner, so I'm gonna go over there. And sometimes the pathing doesn't work. There we go. And your turn, and then Lae'zel is a little bit out of range, so she can just use her ranged attack on the imp. Unfortunately, she missed. And then welcome to D&D combat, where we wet noodle each other at level 1. As my buddy likes to call it, a rusty shiv contest. So in my case, since we're a sorcerer, your spell slots only recharge on long rests, versus things like Ray of Frost is a cantrip, so I can use it every turn. There we go. And then she's better in melee, so we want to just come up in melee and murder this thing. There we go. And then, like we did before, we just want to grab as much good loot as we can. And we can see the value of this loot. So this is just 1 gold, and it has an item weight. So a lot of this stuff isn't really worth picking up if it's like that. But weapons and stuff, we kind of want to take. Yeah. Because we will use that once we get into it. Got to take off now. Just want to say thanks for talking with me early. I appreciate a good time. Good luck with the playthrough. Looking forward to seeing Substack completion. Yeah, thanks, buddy. It was nice chatting with you. And like I said, the invitation's always open for anybody who wants to chat. Anyway, have a good one. And yeah, if you're interested, you can always listen to this while you work, buddy. So see you later. If we got hurt, we could have gone to this restoration table there. But yeah. Yeah, otherwise we kind of just work through, and we're gonna look to get through the sphincters and get off the ship. What's a Substack? Substack Slayer is basically just like a blog where for my videos and things like that, I'm just gonna put kind of all the references, all the data, all the information that I do, my thoughts and feelings on topics, so that people have like a well-indexed point for all of my positions. So I'll probably make it a little bit more clear than my videos, because like some level of it is a little bit of clickbait. You kind of got to play the YouTube game, but the Substack will be more like, hey, you want a specific piece of information from a video that I made, you'll be able to index and find it. And that'll be the plan with the Substack. So just got to find some time to do that.
We have no time for stragglers.
So we'll probably just do the Sorcerer and Arcana. So in Pathfinder, if you beat a difficulty class by 10, you actually get a crit. And a crit in this game just means like double damage. Or in most games is double damage. So like a purgatory of endless pages and sources. Exactly, Slayer.
Are you satisfied? We need to go.
Nerd stuff, Slayer. Just dumb nerd stuff.
The construction is too alien. Nothing looks familiar.
This ship is crashing. Do you intend to die for a stranger?
God, this all kind of sucks.
Hurry, please.
So we can come over here, and there's a few items we can grab. There's a few other intellect devourers that are just around. We'll go through this sphincter and see what's over here. I'll play a tiny bit coy, because obviously I kind of know what the answers are to a lot of these questions. But I'll try to be as I don't know if impartial is the word. Damn it. God damn it, Slayer. He's just... Yeah. You're right. That is actually the best way to live life is to simply make up whatever argument suits you at the time. I think the best is really when you flip flop positions, but it's been enough years that people don't really remember or call you on it. I think those are the best for sure.
The console appears dormant.
So we can do the sorcerer thing, but we can also just insert that little
The console hums to life.
thing. And
You feel a hideous squirming in your head.
ugh, imagine if that actually happened. One of those parasites were just running around.
The sensation washes over you. Connection.
Slayer. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So in these cases, as long as you don't roll a natural 1, which is a critical failure, so it's an automatic failure, you'll succeed on a DC 2 in almost all cases.
The biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
Perfect.
I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a Gith with you.
You keep dangerous company. Fair point. Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Oh, fuck, I forgot I named my character this.
Shadowheart. One moment.
Do we ask questions? No, we have 8 intelligence. I don't think we ask questions. Come on, time to go.
Fine. Let us make for the helm. We've wasted enough time already.
She's right. Lead on.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I don't think we've used up any resources. If we did use up any of our spell slots, we can get them back at this restoration cap. I am going to do a little bit of metagaming here. I'm going to switch her inflict wounds with the spell command. And you will see why I'm doing that in a second here. Yeah, Slayer, do you have any other
We're nearing the helm. Once inside,
any other
do as I say.
arguments that definitely aren't made up?
I'll trust my own judgment.
Cane yank.
Yeah, they're already at each other's throats. So the game is gonna quick save a lot because we're in honor mode, and like I said, if we die or we TPK, we just die. Ooh, frame drop.
Connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape.
Connect the nerves. Nerves. We will connect them.
This
Oh,
thing's
God.
falling fast.
Okay.
Got to right it.
So this is the turn order up here, and we have a new character to help us. I think we're just gonna do the worst spell. Actually, we're probably better off attacking.
Time to meet your maker.
Oops. Anyway, that was a bit of a misclick. The nice thing about this game is that misclicks don't matter too much because there's usually a lot of opportunities to fix your mistakes. Hopefully, this can end your run though.
This is your end.
So, oh whoops! I walked through the fire. My bad. And then she can use her extra little pommel strike bonus action. There we go. Oh yeah, it's knocked out, so we can just loot it. Well, it's great when you name your character something dumb, forget about it, and then in the middle of the game, it's like, hello, Mr. Ben Shabibo. And then she's, oh, yeah, exactly. Fuck.
Best be on my way.
So, am I in range? There we go. course not. Yeah. So in lower difficulties, I might try to take out Commander Zolk, but in this one, I think we'll get our asses kicked. So anyway, this is the little meta strategy that I'm going to try to do. We have 2 chances to get it. We can get him to possibly drop his weapon. Oh, nice. First try. Dope. And then, yeah, we can pick up that weapon. As it is very good. She's a little bit hurt, so we can use her special fighter ability and just heal her up. And then shoot an arrow at that guy. There we go. And then all we're going to want to do is try to help out a little bit on taking this guy out. But otherwise, we're going to run away. Oh, nice. That actually worked. God, Witch's Bolt is probably one of the worst spells in the game, but like I said, it's pretty thematic, so we're gonna do it. Look at that. Look at that long line transmission. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, we're literally just gonna walk up and take that. And then we are, does she have movement? Yeah, then we're just going to use the disengage action, and that means, so if I try to move away, he would like be able to hit me, but if I use the disengage action, he can't hit me now. So we're just gonna do that, and end our turn. I can't remember if there's, we wanna be looting the mind flayers, yeah. So we can leave this guy to just attack him. Nice. But otherwise, we'll just go loot the mind flayers because they can have these good things. Like that's worth 40 gold. So we want that versus something like a knife is worth 16. But we'll still keep it because we're low level and need money.
I won't give in.
And then I believe I can move around with Witch's Bolt, and then I can just recast it. So it costs 1 spell slot, but I can keep reusing Witch's Bolt on him and doing damage. Not very much, though, it would seem. Lol, drink every time DDD finds a way to reference renewables. Thank you guys. I don't know if you'd be able to live very long if if we did that. Just wait till I start talking about bike lanes and public infrastructure. Then that would be a deadly drinking game. But anyway, once we head over here, yeah.
Hurry before they strike.
That's cool. We're just gonna go loot that, and then toss an arrow over there, and hopefully loot the mind player and another like topaz for 60 gold.
Well, so much for peace.
So we can just keep re-hitting them. Honestly, yeah, no, that just, it doesn't do enough damage. There's like a part of me that wants to stay, but
These boots have seen everything.
honestly, it's funny because I do the same reference renewables all the time. Tetris Effect is crazy, yeah. Oh fuck, actually I shouldn't have moved my caster this far forward. Oopsie. Getting too distracted by the comments. Having too much fun. Deadlifts and destroy your liver. Exactly. Fuck, you guys are all way funnier than me. I can't think of this shit. Let's just fucking blast that guy. That is probably, I believe it's the strongest first level spell in the whole game, is Guiding Bolt. As you can see, it did 19 radiant damage on something that had 10 health. So get fucked. And then obviously we're gonna get Lazel to just go murder Hobo over here. One thing we want to do, because there can be bugs with it, is just make sure we kind of move some of these items just to our main character. just in case. It should be okay, but we don't want there to be any issues.
Still breathing.
Again, sorry for ruining any of the surprise that this game might give. I'll do my best not to. Ooh.
Come a little closer.
And this is why we don't want to stay and fight the guy, because more of these Cambions come and can fuck us up, especially because this Mind Flayer is about to die. We should start YouTube channels. Yep. Actually, you don't want to use fire on the imp. You want to use one of the most annoying spells in the game to use. My computer is pretty good. So hopefully we don't get too many frame drops, but this game can be a little bit demanding. So hopefully it doesn't crash on us. But imagine if, as I said that, it crashes. Jeez.
Come on.
We haven't looted that one. And then we'll probably just dash
Light on my feet.
and go to the transponder.
The Helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
Okay. I believe this goes straight into another cinematic. That's the Underdark. God, what a beautiful place. Okay.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull. The chaos of the crash site confuses the landscape. You'll need to find a settlement or landmark, and you'll need to do it quickly. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
When you're a solar cell in a fossil cuck society. By the way, what do you think of Gen Alpha slang? Personally, I think I'm the only guy on Earth that unironically loves it. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Like everybody has their own slang. I think it's a matter of like if you don't hang out with people like that or know it, you just end up kind of not knowing the information or the terminology. And then it just kind of ends up like seeping into your lexicon. Like, I know my girlfriend hates it when I say based. Fucking Destiny. God damn it. But yeah, it's it's shit like that, right?
Very well.
But I'm probably not familiar with a ton of Gen Alpha slang or at least stuff that I can think of off the top of my head. No, we have 8 intelligence. We don't even know what an artifact is.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
Based is old school. Sigma's the new punk fuck. See, I'm like the old guy. I'm like, so I'm just on the cusp of Gen Z and Millennial. I'm like the perfect case of I didn't get into the housing market early enough, so I got fucked by that. But I also look like I'm 35, but I'm only 29. So.
I remember the
or 40, depending on who you ask.
I remember falling.
To be fair, I've been asked if I have a kid since I was like 22. Growing a beard sure does that for you. But yeah, I definitely don't know all the fucking slang. I also grew up kind of like a redneck too, so that probably didn't help a whole lot either. Or the slang that I did have. I think I know every single slang word. Well, Slayer, I expect you to put miscellaneous slang that I don't understand into everything, or into your comments as we go through, and I'll pretend like I understand. I will not be dropping my skincare routine. No, you just splashing some water on my face. That's what it is, right? Fuck, sorry. I did not even read this. I remember, yeah.
First things first. We need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
It'd be funny if we could ask, aren't you a healer? You're a cleric.
We need each other, and we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company.
I'm pretty sure Shadowheart is... Oh.
Just before we go, I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think Shadowheart is like far and away the most romance character in the game. Wait, did we not level? Oh, yeah, that's not good. Normally you're level 2 at this point. Okay. I wonder if XP gain is slightly lower, or I just missed something. But again, you kind of want to hold Alt and find different loot stuff because you can build a bunch of powerful potions and different pieces of gear as you do the playthrough. So we're gonna get this stuff. This is camp supplies. So in order to take a long rest, different than Dungeons and Dragons, you need camp supplies. And then this is how short rests work in this game. Twice a day, you can restore 50% of your hit points. Warlocks restore their spell slots. So yeah, you only get 2 short rests per day, so that you can't just like spam them all the time. And unlike normal D&D, which is like, or at least 5e, which is a 1-hour rest, it just immediately procs. So we can open this up and look at this perfumed letter. I love you. There, I said it. And if you meet me tomorrow, I'll say it again and again and keep on saying it till we're old and great. Wow, this is really sad because he's dead. Jesus. So let's do it. Let's go to Baldur's Gate. I know it's risky. But but so staying here the last few months have been hard, and they're a little easier when you're there. Leave the boat and meet me at the hill overlooking the old bridge. Oh, jeez. Wow, the heartstrings when you actually read some of these for the first time. I won't read every single book because there's tons and tons of lore in this. I know every single slang word. I really did get off the internet. Nah, man, you got to go to Twitter and just get rage baited and be angry. But you'll start to see that yeah, I'm not the best at reading. As a true engineer, not my strongest suit. I will do my best. See here that door's locked. So yeah, all I'm doing right now is just like looting all of the abducted and dead commoners and whatnot, because early game loot is really, really important. You can see some intellect devourers over there.
No traps, please.
Twitter's where I got all the slang from. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm just gonna be a little cognizant of time. I'll probably stream for like another 20-ish minutes, kind of do the 6 to 9 stream. That will be reasonable for me. Like I said, I get up around 5 a.m. to work out. Engineers are illiterate. Exactly. If you saw my university grades, you would know that to be quite true. Oh, goodness. This actually can be a bit of a hard fight. Imagine if I TBK'd on like this fight. I might just witch's bolt this. There we go.
Better stay back.
So if you get a surprise round, they won't get to necessarily act, and then we can use my special sorcerer ability because I just cast a spell to fly. And then Shadowheart can come over here, and we generally just want to take them out at range as much as we can, and focus fire and things like that. And fuck, I hate that spell. Okay, well, hopefully we don't die. What's her AC right now? I forget that I can't just like meme and run auto mode, and I actually can't just stick around. Because this fight can actually be a little bit hard. We should be fine. Hopefully. Ooh, yep, there we go. That's what I thought might happen. Fuck. Oh, well, shit. That's really, really bad. Okay. Oh man, imagine if we TP8 here. That would be not good. So we're gonna do that. And then we are going to bonus action healing word, and you are going to run defense. Okay. I'm just going to heal you. I regret saying go hard or go home. Oh, I forgot how fucked this fight is. That's okay. We will simply just run away, and then I can come back and heal. That's okay. We are, as a true liberal, we're going to run away from the fight. I believe I'm role-playing perfectly. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh my goodness. Oh, we do what we always do. Okay, we need to kill one of these. So hopefully that can take it out. There we go. Okay. And we leveled. So that's also the important part. Being level 1 actually makes this very difficult. Yeah. Yeah, he's dead. That's okay. Let's try. Let's see if we can. If we can't get away from them on this turn, we might have to turn and fight. I think Shadowheart might be able to do it. We'll see. I don't know what's happening, but it doesn't look good. Yeah, I'm getting my shit pushed in, is what's happening. Which basically just means I have to fight and kite a little bit. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to outrun them. So we're going to do that. And we basically just want to stop them from being able to hit us with the synaptic static. The issue is that I might still get hit. I don't know if I should only get hit once. As long as he doesn't do max damage, I should be okay. Hopefully. Yeah, so he's going to dash. And then he's going to hit me with the synaptic static. And as long as it doesn't do 8 damage, we will be okay. Okay, another flame. And then what we want to do is just run into cover so that he doesn't have line of sight on us, because I don't think he does. Ah, shit, now he does.
I'm not going to last much longer.
That's okay. We want to heal. Whew, that was lucky. Max heal. Fuck. Alright. Ooh. Just get fucked by this. Okay, well, this is the moment of truth, really, because if she dies, I'm fucked, and it's literally game over. Ah, Jesus. Oh my god. Well, that was terrible. TPK'd. Oh, that's so funny. So we can continue in dishonor mode, or we can go through. Yeah, no shit. I'm not really keen on kind of rebuilding the character. Yeah, that's quick match exactly. Fuck. Oh, jeez. Well, that fight is, yeah, I should have taken significantly more care. Oopsie. Rick, liberal Shilligan. 1 out of 60 hours exactly. Jeez. Oh yeah, put us back here.
Have seen everything.
We barely knew you. Well, so we have 2 options here. I can kind of get back to this point on a fresh character and do it fully on honor mode, and we can go back to honor mode for the next session. I'll just do that off stream, or we just continue as in the dishonor mode, as it were, on the tactician difficulty. I believe is what it would be put on now. Yeah, it's on to tactician, and bosses are empowered with new mechanics. Yeah, well, that's what I get for dicking around. So I'll let you guys decide. I'll see if there's any other comments about it, but that's actually pretty fucking hilarious. But yeah, with that, I think that's probably where I will shut down the stream. Yeah, you're not going to sleep. It's like 9 p.m. You think dishonor mode? Yeah. Like I said, I get up at 5 a.m. So I typically go to bed between 8:30 and 9, which is why I try to end it there. But if we're having a good time or there's lots of discussions or anything like that, then I'm happy to extend it. But But yeah, I think we'll end it there. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, thanks for everybody for coming out. And if you have, oh my goodness, it's 5 a.m. where you are. Jeez, we are on completely different schedules, but I guess it works well for the two of us as I stream at a perfect time for you, Slayer. So anyway, have a good night, everybody. It was nice chatting with you.